Fear will have you shrinking from a life God already gave you permission to walk in. Fear is bold. Fear will wake up in your life and be like, I pay the rent. Like it owns the deed. Like it's the landlord of your destiny. Fear will have you sitting up there like, okay, maybe I should apply for this job. I know I'm qualified, but I'm still not sure. Maybe I shouldn't speak up. Maybe I shouldn't leave that toxic relationship. Maybe I shouldn't dream that big. Meanwhile, God is looking at the situation like, I already signed off on that. I already approved that. I already opened that door. Why are you still standing in the hallway? And listen, I'm not throwing shade. I'm not judging you because I've been that person. I've been that person. I've sat in the hallway with my little emotional suitcase, scared to walk into rooms God literally reserved for me out of fear. So if we know this, we have to move away from that way of thinking because fear will have you shrinking from a life God already gave you permission to walk in. It'll talk you out of your blessings. And those blessings already have your name on it. It'll convince you that you're not ready for things that God has already prepared you for. You know yourself, you've been making preparation. Fear will make you negotiate with your own calling. And I need you to hear me. Hear this with your heart. Fear is loud, but it's not Lord. Fear is loud, but it's not Lord. And a lot of the fear that you feel isn't even about the present. It's not about what's going on now. It's about something from your past. It's something old. It's something familiar. You're accustomed to walking in fear. So it's just echoing in the moment where it's going to attempt to sabotage your destiny. Because you're looking back to a time you didn't feel safe or seen or supported. And so now every time you step into something new, something great even, your nervous system hits you with that, I feel danger. Even when there's no danger, there's no real threat. And that's why you end up shrinking and end up hesitating when it comes to the things that you know you have been given to do. And a lot of times this is why you overthink. And that keeps you small. And it's not because you're weak. It's not because you're unqualified for these things. It's not because you're confused even. You have the clarity. But it's because fear has learned your language before faith did. Fear will have you out here arguing with God, like when he's told you something like, are you sure? Like, are you sure? So we're questioning what God has already told us to do. Are you double sure? Can you send me a sign? No, not that sign, a different sign. And we won't even accept that. And God is like, I literally sent you 12 signs, a billboard, and the whole prophetic dream. What else do you want? A PowerPoint presentation? So we have to just break away from that because fear will shrink you. But God he wants to expand you. And fear confines you. While God says to you, you're free. Fear is going to teach you to stay small and it's going to try to keep you small. But God wants to call you out of that. Fear is going to always tell you you're not ready. But God's going to say, I equip you. Fear is going to say, or get you to question, what if I fail? God's going to say, what if you flourish? So you got to be careful about the voices that you hear, what you're listening to in your own head and your own thinking. You were not created to tiptoe through life. You were not created to apologize for your gifts. And you were not created to dim your light to make other people feel comfortable. You're not meant to live in survival mode forever. And that's all fear is, especially irrational fear. It's something you learned a long time ago due to trauma or some other life event. You were created for connection. You were created for purpose, and you were created for more. And if fear has been running the show, it's time to shift that. It's time to transform your thinking, not by pretending you're not scared, not by forcing yourself to be confident, because you can't do that, but you have to learn the patterns beneath the fear in order to break it from the root. And that's the help. That's what I help people do. That's what I help people do, because once you break the fear and the cycles of fear, your whole life opens up. You glow up once you learn to break the pattern of fear, see the root, and identify it. So if this message hits you in any way, or if it, may be beneficial to someone else you may know, I want you to know this. You don't have to shrink anymore. You don't have to second guess yourself. You don't have to live in a life that's beneath what God has for you and what He's already approved for you. You're allowed to step forward. You're allowed to grow. You're allowed to heal and rise and go to the next level and do it successfully. And you're allowed to learn from your mistakes. You're allowed to make mistakes. I want you to rise, and I'm here to help you do that. So if this is something that you feel may be beneficial to you, you can visit me at FromTheHeartMindsetCoaching.com, where I offer one-on-one sessions, a range of different topics. And if any of those things resonate with you, send me a message and we can, talk about some pain points and have a consultation. Also, if this is your first time visiting my channel, I do thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. I ask all of you to please like, share, and subscribe if you would, because it helps to get the algorithm going, get the message around, and my content spread out for those who it does benefit. I greatly appreciate each and every last one of you. And as always, keep shining.